if you break it up into smaller segments, then it'll be easier to email to the relatives, you know. The relatives can be emailed. I'm just going to move the camera just this way a little bit.
Why do you have to email so many?
Well, it's short segments, you know. So there I am. See, that's me right beside Grandma. I think you can see me there, more or less. So, anyway, we could get a snowstorm and an ice storm today. So we're not looking forward to that particularly, are we, Grandma?
No.
The weather's nearly always nice when Grandma goes out to her hairdresser or something like that. She seems to be very fortunate as far as the weather goes. Like, it was a really nice day when we drove over there, you know. We saw the planet Venus in the southwestern sky on the way home, didn't we? Remember the big bright?
Oh, yeah.
It's just brilliant now. Just after sunset in the evening twilight, you can see it toward look almost due south and just slightly to the west, due south, and up a little bit in the sky. You see a big bright white star.
Very bright and
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
Of course, we always know what's in the sky.
That's right. I'm always, you know.
Bob's always he's an astronomer, you know.
Yeah. I think that's just 1 minute. I think we got another minute on this one.
You
So,
told him about the moon. Oh,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, we saw the moon.
The moon's in full right now, I think.
Yeah, it's right around full moon right now. So, that's pretty good. It looks pretty interesting in the sky. Tell them about all the cats and the birds you feed.
Well, I don't feed them, Bob does. But we have quite a bit of company around the house, and out at the back we have, is it 4 cats altogether?
Yeah, yeah.
And of course all birds. And I see blue jays and there's a whole lot of little birds, but there's a few big ones too, red cardinals, and it's very interesting. And I can sit, and that's another thing about my kitchen window. I can look out and see the birds eating and flying around, and it's great having this spot here. And of course I can see the lights around the falls and the planes flying around. They come around and give people a view. Somebody gets in a ride, takes a ride around looking at the falls, and you can see the plane doing it from our kitchen window.
I'm just going to stop and start it again. Okay, now we're starting another video run.
Don't you think that's enough?
Well, I guess we were telling you about the airplanes and that, you know, and there was you know, you've been feeling pretty good lately, so yeah, it's good. So anyway, there was one other thing I was gonna. Oh yeah, I'm gonna start. I'll start the tale right now, just briefly, of the time that I went into the bank about 7 or 8 years ago with Grandma, and I went into the bank together. That's when Grandma was still writing out the checks and doing the finances herself. And unfortunately, Grandma made a little bit of a mistake, and she overdrew her bank account. Like she, you know, like drew out more, like wrote checks for more money than she had in there. What is that called, Mom? It's
The draft.
overdrawing your account.
Overdraft?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. So anyway, we had to go in one day and straighten it out. And unfortunately, the day we chose to go in there was a great big gigantic lineup at the bank. Like it was just. This is a new CIBC branch at Lundy's Lane in Leonard. It's a nice new bank. Like we replaced several smaller banks in the area. They reopened this banking center. It was beautiful. There was a huge lineup of people. Just tremendous. It was just like a single line waits in file to go to all the towers. Like they have a curving rope. There must have been maybe 50 or 100 people waiting in line or something that day. And anyway, we got about halfway through the line. Like there was a big sort of a loop. I would say estimate we were about halfway through it. And one of the tellers there used to like to hear my jokes. She doesn't work there now. She moved away. But back then, her name was Christy. My eyes get misty when I think about Christy. And she used to like to hear my jokes. Probably one of the few people in the world that like to hear my jokes. So anyway, I'm going to end this one and start another little... Okay, I just started another segment so as to break it up. And anyway, to see what we're starting another segment, all right. I'm just checking to make sure the timer is going, and it's all right. Okay, now I can halfway through and trapped in the middle of a huge long line, and she said, Bob, you're just standing there in quiet, in silence, not saying anything. Why aren't you telling us some jokes? And that was a very unfortunate thing for her to say, because all of a sudden I burst into a tremendous series of jokes that were just fantastic, and just one after the other started telling them, and everybody in the whole bank could hear them, because, you know, my voice is kind of loud and carries, and it just broke the entire bank up, just destroyed it. They were all the people in line, the tellers were just dying laughing. This went on for 5 or 10 minutes, and poor Grandma was just ahead of me, and she was trapped there too, and she kept poking me in the ribs with her fingers, saying, now Bob, that's enough for now, that's enough. And then the people in line all saw her doing this to me, and I turned to them and said, don't worry folks, it's just a little good-natured banter. And Mother was getting more angry and more agitated as time went on, and it just destructed the bank entirely. Like, it was just disrupted it and destructed it, and everybody was just dying with laughter, including all the tellers. And finally a teller way down at the other end that has chairs for older people to sit in and that called us over. She was already embarrassed enough about overdrawing her account, and she had to go in there and face that, and then at the same time she had me to deal with telling all these jokes, and it wasn't my fault entirely because it was a teller that instigated it. I'm going to stop this and start another one going. Okay, another one has started now, and and so what happened with the teller is that, like, well, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, I looked over at Christy, and the poor girl had the most amazing facial expression I've ever seen on someone. Just one of the most amazing expressions in her face I've ever seen. It was a beautiful, simultaneous combination, like a mixture, of mirth and laughter, surprise and horror, all at the same time. She had no idea about the can of worms that she had opened when she asked me to tell jokes. I think she expected maybe one or two feeble ones, you know, as sort of a slight distraction from the normal routine of the banking day. Instead of that, it was an absolute onslaught of one joke after another. Afterwards, when we were leaving the bank, Grandma said to me, I'm never going into that bank with you again. That was Grandma's response to what went on. I just thought all the relatives should hear about Grandma and my adventure in the CIBC Bank of Commerce. So, what do you think of that, Grandma? I mean, what's your thoughts on the matter?
I think you should have kept it hidden.
What's that?
Well, not talked about it.
Why?
Oh, are you proud of it?
It wasn't my fault.
Oh, no.
It was the bank teller that instigated
But you
the whole
haven't
thing.
got sense enough to stop.
And the beauty of it is, the beauty of it is, Grandma was trapped there with me. She was just there, just trapped there with me, weren't you,
I
Grandma?
sure was trapped.
I'm going to start another
I go heels to the bank by himself now. Ever since.
So what do you think, Grandma? Are you going to go back to the bank with me and say hello sometime?
No way.
The
No way.
So, actually the jokes I told were banker's jokes. Only the teller laughs.
I thought you said the whole people were laughing.
But that's a joke in itself. That was a banker's joke. Only the teller laughs. Did you get it?
No, I don't get it.
Oh, so actually, when they're here for a visit, the relatives will explain that one to you.
Do I have to have it explained?
Isn't that an exciting thought? Doesn't the prospect of that just make you feel wonderful?
Makes me feel tired.
So anyway, Grandma, I thought that I would just mention about, you know, our adventure at the bank.
Don't you think that's enough?
You think that's enough adventuring?
Yes.
You don't want to adventure anymore today, do you?
No.
You know, so you think that's enough for the relatives, enough for them to handle at the moment, right? You don't think we should burden them with any more, do you? Grandma's indicating that she thinks I should end the videotape, aren't you?
somebody want to listen